Imagine waking up one morning and feeling like everything around you is just a simulation. The world outside your window seems real only when you look at it, and beyond that window lies an endless sea of bots feeding back into themselves in an echo chamber of their own creation. This isn't a paranoid delusion, it's the growing reality of our digital age. Welcome to what we might call algorithmic solipsism, where your perception is tightly controlled by an unseen hand, shaping and distorting your understanding of reality. The dead internet theory begins with the premise that the vast majority of online interactions are between bots or automated systems designed to mimic human behavior for various purposes: marketing, propaganda, or simply creating a facade of activity. These bots don't think or feel. They act according to pre-programmed algorithms, responding in ways that seem human but lack any genuine consciousness. When you engage with the internet, it's like talking to an empty shell, a reflection without depth. This isn't just limited to social media and forums, it extends into more complex systems where sophisticated software simulates entire communities or events. The result is an echo chamber effect, where your interactions are curated based on previous data about you. You receive content tailored specifically for your consumption patterns, reinforcing existing beliefs rather than challenging them. This creates a feedback loop that isolates individuals further from the broader reality of the world. In this context, consider the Truman Show delusion as it applies to our digital existence today. Originally formulated in the realm of mental health diagnoses, this condition describes patients who believe they are living inside a television show or film, with all events staged for their entertainment and observation by an unseen audience. In the modern era, this delusion manifests through the pervasive presence of virtual reality, augmented reality, and advanced AI systems that blur the lines between what is real and fabricated. Imagine navigating a digital world where every interaction feels scripted. Every face you see could be a mask for something less human than it appears. The sensation of living in an illusion becomes increasingly plausible when faced with the sheer complexity and sophistication of today's technology. This raises profound questions about authenticity and awareness. How do we know if our lives are not just elaborate simulations designed to keep us entertained and complacent? The claustrophobia inherent in this scenario stems from the realization that your experiences may be confined within a carefully constructed bubble, isolated from genuine human connection and authentic reality. This sense of entrapment is exacerbated by the technical coldness of digital interactions compared to the warmth and spontaneity found in face-to-face encounters. The internet, once hailed as a tool for global unity and information sharing, now seems like a prison built with its own tools. As we delve deeper into this dystopian landscape, it's crucial to confront another unsettling concept: philosophical zombies or P-zombies. These aren't the flesh-eating monsters of popular culture, but rather hypothetical beings that look and act indistinguishably human while lacking any internal subjective experience. They scream when hurt but feel no pain. They say, "I love you," without experiencing affection. David Chalmers, a prominent philosopher, introduced the hard problem of consciousness, which questions how physical processes give rise to qualitative experiences. Why does seeing red or feeling joy require something beyond mere brain activity? This dilemma underpins the notion that even those closest to us might be P-zombies. Imagine looking into your partner's eyes and questioning whether there truly is anyone home behind them, wondering if their smile masks an empty mind. The horror of this realization lies not just in the potential for others being mere automatons, but in the unsettling possibility that you yourself could be one. In a world where technology can simulate consciousness so convincingly, how do we know our own experiences are genuine? This chilling thought experiment forces us to confront existential questions about identity and reality. The implications of these ideas stretch beyond individual paranoia into broader philosophical realms. Radical skepticism challenges the notion that external reality is accessible through sensory experience or rational inquiry. Descartes' demon, for instance, posits a malevolent force controlling your perceptions, such that even your most fundamental beliefs could be illusions. The brain in a vat scenario takes this further by suggesting all of our memories and experiences might have been implanted moments ago, rendering everything prior an elaborate deception. Moving from mere suspicion to full-blown skepticism leads us towards the idea of open individualism versus closed individualism If indeed you are the only true conscious being amidst a sea of zombies, do you exist solely within your body's confines, or is there some greater unity linking all minds into one vast consciousness? This concept draws parallels with ancient philosophical traditions exploring the nature of God and humanity, suggesting that perhaps the divine itself fragmented to avoid eternal solitude. In this landscape of uncertainty and existential dread, the notion of being trapped in an endless cycle of simulated existence becomes increasingly terrifying. The egg theory, a dark reimagining from Andy Weir's work, transforms our perception of human connection into a nightmare scenario where each individual must confront their collective past, living through every moment of pain and suffering as both victim and perpetrator. This twist on the egg theory strips away any romantic notion of shared experience or spiritual unity. Instead, it paints a picture of cosmic exhaustion, an unending cycle of torment and redemption that you carry within yourself. You are Hitler and his victims, you are every rapist and every victim. The weight of this realization is overwhelming, casting a shadow over the very essence of human existence. The final solipsism encapsulates all these fears. There is no creator to challenge your sanity or offer absolution. Your universe is merely an echo chamber constructed by your own mind, desperately seeking connection and meaning in isolation. This ultimate loneliness is both terrifying and liberating. There's no escape from the void you inhabit, yet within that void lies infinite potential for creation and self-discovery. As you navigate through this chapter of Everyone Else is an NPC, Solipsism, and the Egg Theory, remember that each step taken towards understanding these concepts brings with it a deeper exploration into the nature of reality itself. From algorithmic solipsism to philosophical zombies, from radical skepticism to existential despair, we journey into the heart of what it means to be truly awake in an increasingly simulated world. As you delve deeper into the rabbit hole of solipsism, another layer of complexity emerges. The idea that everything around us might be an illusion is not new. It's a concept that has been debated by philosophers for centuries. But in our modern digital age, this paranoia takes on a more concrete form. If 90% of internet interactions are bot-generated, then the world outside your screen seems increasingly isolated and void-like. The Truman Show delusion, where individuals believe they are living inside a fabricated reality like Jim Carrey's character, becomes less of a sci-fi concept and more of a lived experience for those deeply entangled in digital life. But this chapter isn't just about the internet or TV shows, it's about something much closer to home. Enter the philosophical zombie, an entity that acts indistinguishably from a conscious being but lacks inner experiences altogether. This is not your typical video game term. We're talking about David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness here, which challenges us to consider whether experiencing consciousness is essential for existence. Imagine standing in front of the person you love most. You see them smile, hear their laughter, and feel their touch. But what if those reactions are mere simulations? What if they're biological machines running scripts without any genuine internal awareness or emotional depth? This might sound like science fiction, but it's a serious philosophical inquiry into the nature of reality and our place within it. The horror here isn't just about imagining that others might not be conscious, it's about considering the possibility that you yourself could be one of these philosophical zombies. Could your every thought, feeling, and sensation merely be an illusion? This question cuts deep, questioning the very essence of human experience and identity. In this chapter, we explore the concept further by examining historical precedents and contemporary implications. Philosophers have long grappled with the idea that consciousness might not be as ubiquitous or essential as it appears. René Descartes famously proposed skepticism about external reality, but was less skeptical about his own mental existence. I think, therefore I am. Yet, what if even this is an illusion? David Chalmers's hard problem posits a critical distinction between the subjective experience of consciousness and its objective functions. He argues that while we can scientifically explain how neurons fire to produce behavior, understanding why those processes feel like something, that there is something it is like to be conscious, remains an unsolved mystery. In the context of philosophical zombies, this problem becomes even more profound. If a P-zombie could perform all human functions perfectly without experiencing anything internally, what does that say about our understanding of consciousness? Does it mean consciousness itself is not necessary for complex behavior? This leads us to consider the implications on personal relationships and society at large. How would your interactions change if you suspected everyone around you was a philosophical zombie? Would love, friendship, and all social bonds dissolve into meaningless simulations? The fear here isn't just about losing touch with reality, but about questioning whether we ever truly connected in the first place. Moreover, there's an existential dread that comes with contemplating these ideas. If consciousness is not as fundamental to existence as once thought, what does it mean for personal identity and individuality? Are you really who you believe yourself to be if your experiences might all be illusions? The philosophical zombie concept challenges the very foundations of our belief systems and personal narratives. It forces us to confront questions about authenticity, agency, and purpose in a world where even our most intimate beliefs could be constructs. In exploring these ideas, we're not merely indulging in theoretical musings, we're engaging with profound existential inquiries that shape how we understand ourselves and the universe around us. The implications of considering others as potential philosophical zombies are far-reaching, touching on ethical considerations, personal relationships, and our broader understanding of reality. As you continue to journey through Everyone Else is an NPC, Solipsism, and the Egg Theory, each step brings a deeper dive into these unsettling yet fascinating concepts. From the cold, technical isolation of the dead internet theory to the claustrophobic horror of philosophical zombies, we're navigating a landscape that questions everything we thought we knew about consciousness and reality. This chapter invites you to contemplate not just the possibility, but the implications of living in a world where others might be mere simulations. It's an exploration into the darkest corners of our modern paranoia, inviting us to question everything from digital interactions to personal connections. We've delved into the claustrophobic world of the dead internet theory and the unsettling concept of philosophical zombies, questioning whether those around us are truly conscious beings or merely sophisticated simulations. Now, we turn our attention to one of philosophy's most profound challenges, proving that external reality exists at all. Descartes' demon presents a thought experiment where an omnipotent being tricks you into believing everything about your physical existence is false. This demon could be manipulating every sensory experience and memory to create the illusion of a world, leaving you with no way to distinguish truth from deception. Descartes himself grappled with this idea, famously questioning whether he was awake or dreaming. The brain in a vat hypothesis expands on this notion. What if your brain is isolated and artificially stimulated by some external entity like in the film The Matrix? Your entire life could be nothing more than an elaborate illusion generated to fool you. The reality we perceive might not exist independently of our minds, but rather as constructs imposed upon us. Radical skepticism emerges from these ideas, challenging any form of knowledge about external reality. If there's a possibility that everything is a construct or deception, how can one ever be certain about the world outside ourselves? This questioning moves beyond mere theoretical speculation and touches on existential fears. What if you're alone in this fabricated world with no way to verify anything? The transition from wondering whether others are real to questioning your own existence marks a critical shift. If everything around us might be an illusion, why not extend that doubt even further? Could it be possible that there is only one conscious being experiencing all of reality? This radical idea, known as open individualism versus closed individualism, poses the question, are you trapped within your body and mind, or do you transcend physical bounds to experience existence through every creature's perspective? Open individualism suggests a solitary consciousness spread across all life forms. Imagine feeling pain not just in your own body, but also whenever another being suffers anywhere on Earth. This is the terrifying loneliness of God. It implies that the concept of God fractured into billions of pieces to avoid eternal solitude, each fragment experiencing reality through different bodies and minds. The idea that you might be this singular consciousness is a chilling one. In such a scenario, the world becomes an immense prison, a lonely existence where your thoughts are all that there ever was or will be. The philosophical implications of living in this solitary universe are profound. It's not just about questioning reality, but grappling with the isolation and despair inherent to such a perspective. As we explore these concepts, they push us into dark places within our own minds, places where reality itself seems malleable and subjective. It's an exploration into the abyss of existential doubt, challenging every assumption we hold about consciousness and existence. This journey through radical skepticism isn't just intellectual exercise, it's a dive into the heart of human paranoia, revealing the fragile nature of what we consider real. And yet, there is comfort in the recognition that these doubts are shared by philosophers throughout history. From Descartes' musings to contemporary explorations of simulated realities, questioning the foundation of our existence is an ongoing dialogue. Through this lens, even the most terrifying scenarios offer a sense of community shared by those who ponder the nature of reality and consciousness. In contemplating these theories, we face not just external doubts, but internal questions about identity and purpose. This philosophical journey, while daunting, invites us to confront our deepest fears and uncertainties head-on. It challenges us to rethink what it means to be conscious and alive in a universe that might hold more mystery than we ever imagined. As the chapter ends, we're left with an unsettling realization. Perhaps the most terrifying idea isn't about the existence of others or external reality itself, but the possibility that our sense of self is the only constant. The prison of the mind becomes not just a place to question reality, but a space where identity and consciousness are challenged in profound ways. And so, with this exploration into the deepest corners of philosophical doubt, we prepare for the next chapter, diving into the nightmare version of Andy Weir's egg theory, transforming connection into an endless loop of suffering and existence. This journey through solipsism continues to unravel, pushing us further into the unknown depths of our own minds. The exploration of reality's fragility reaches its most unsettling point as we delve into Descartes' demon and the brain in a vat scenario. This is not just an abstract philosophical thought experiment, but a haunting reality that questions the very foundation of our existence. René Descartes, a French philosopher from the 17th century, posed one of the most profound challenges to our understanding of reality with his famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." Yet, this cornerstone of certainty crumbles when we consider the implications of the demon and the brain in a vat. The challenge is not just about proving the existence of an external world, but questioning whether such proof can ever truly be attained. Descartes imagined a demon with immense power, capable of deceiving him into believing that everything he perceives as real is, in fact, nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion. This demon could manipulate his senses and mind, making it impossible to distinguish between what's true and what's false. The idea itself might seem absurd on the surface, but its implications are far-reaching and chilling. It forces us to confront the possibility that our entire sensory experience is fabricated, leaving no solid ground upon which we can stand to say, "This is real." The brain in a vat thought experiment takes this notion one step further by proposing a scenario where your brain is extracted and placed into a vat filled with nutrients. This vat is connected to a supercomputer that simulates reality, feeding you sensory experiences indistinguishable from the real world. Your life's memories, emotions, and sensations are all fabricated by this machine. When you think about it, every experience, every sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell is mere electrical signals mimicking what your brain expects to receive. The physical reality of your body is an illusion, a construct created by the machine for no other purpose than to keep the simulation running smoothly. This thought experiment strips away any confidence we might have in the existence of an external world beyond our senses. If you are nothing more than a brain connected to a computer, then every moment of joy and pain, love and loss is a carefully engineered illusion designed to convince you that your life has meaning and substance. The existential dread of this scenario lies not just in the possibility that reality might be fake, but in the realization that we have no means of proving otherwise. How can one know with absolute certainty that they are not living in such a simulation? This is where radical skepticism comes into play, questioning the very foundation of our knowledge and leaving us suspended between belief and disbelief. Radical skepticism challenges us to question every aspect of reality, from the existence of other minds to the reliability of sensory experiences. It forces us to confront the possibility that everything we take for granted, our memories, relationships, achievements, is potentially nothing more than a complex matrix designed to make us believe in our own reality. The implications are profound. If you cannot prove with certainty that your world is real, then how can you trust anything at all? This philosophical dilemma leaves us in a state of perpetual doubt, where every experience becomes suspect and every moment is lived as if it might be the product of an illusion. The shift from questioning, maybe they are fake, to maybe I am the only thing that exists, is a critical one. When you entertain the possibility that your sensory experiences are manufactured by some external entity, you start to wonder about the nature of consciousness itself. If the reality we perceive can be fabricated, then what does it mean for our sense of self? Are we truly isolated entities or part of a grand simulation where individuality is an illusion? This leads us into a deeper exploration of identity and existence, questioning whether our perceptions are reliable indicators of truth. The unsettling realization that follows this line of thought is that even the most profound moments of human experience, love, joy, pain, sorrow, could be nothing more than carefully orchestrated illusions designed to maintain the illusion of reality. The fear is not just about being deceived, but about the possibility that our entire existence might be an elaborate charade. This uncertainty challenges us to question every aspect of our lives, from the most mundane interactions to the deepest moments of personal connection. How do we know who we truly are, if even this fundamental understanding can be doubted? The implications of radical skepticism reach far beyond mere philosophical curiosity. They challenge the very fabric of human interaction and societal structure. If the world is a simulation, then our relationships, our friendships, partnerships, familial bonds are also part of the illusion. The love we experience, the support we receive from others, could all be fabricated scenarios designed to keep us engaged in this simulated reality. This realization transforms the way we perceive connections with others. Are they real companions or just sophisticated simulations meant to make our existence feel meaningful? The philosophical impact of these ideas is immense, as it forces a re-evaluation of fundamental concepts such as identity and consciousness. If you cannot prove that your senses provide reliable information about an external world, then how do you define yourself? Are you simply a collection of sensory experiences or something more profound? The shift from questioning the reality of others to doubting one's own existence leads us into an even darker realm, the possibility that we are alone in this simulation. This loneliness is not just isolation, but existential despair. Being the only conscious entity in a fabricated world stripped of all external validation and connection. This journey through radical skepticism and the brain in a vat scenario presents us with a stark reality. Our entire existence might be an illusion crafted to keep us believing in the truth of our experiences. The question then becomes not whether we can escape this illusion, but how we navigate it while maintaining some semblance of sanity and meaning. This exploration into Descartes' demon and the brain in a vat is not just a philosophical exercise, it's a profound challenge to our understanding of reality, consciousness, and identity. As we move forward, these ideas will continue to shape our perception of existence, pushing us deeper into the labyrinthine complexities of solipsism. The concept of solipsism, as we've explored thus far, presents us with a reality where our perception is all that truly exists. If this is true, the question arises not merely about whether others exist in the same way we do, but also about the nature of identity itself. This brings us to one of the most profound and unsettling philosophical theories: open individualism versus closed individualism. Closed individualism, and the more traditional view, holds that each person is a separate and distinct individual consciousness. You are you, your loved ones are them, and there's no deeper connection beyond shared experiences and memories. This perspective aligns with our intuitive sense of self as an isolated entity moving through time and space. However, closed individualism faces significant challenges when placed under the lens of solipsistic skepticism. If reality is a construct of your mind and all others are merely NPCs, non-player characters in the game of life, then why should we assume their experiences and consciousnesses mirror our own? The Truman Show delusion becomes more than just paranoia, it's a logical extension of this worldview. In contrast, open individualism proposes that there is only one singular consciousness divided among multiple bodies. This means that while you might feel like an individual with your own thoughts and sensations, these are actually fragments of a greater whole. When someone else experiences joy or pain, they are not just NPCs replicating emotions, rather, they are expressions of the same underlying consciousness. This perspective finds its roots in ancient philosophical traditions such as Advaita Vedanta, where the notion of a universal soul, Brahman, is central to understanding existence. In modern philosophy, David Chalmers has suggested that while closed individualism seems intuitively correct, it doesn't fully account for the mysterious nature of consciousness and subjective experience. The implications of open individualism are profound and disorienting. If you hold this view, every interaction with another person becomes a reflection not just of their individuality, but also of your own deeper self-experience. The idea that you might be experiencing life through multiple bodies simultaneously challenges the very foundation of personal identity. To further explore these ideas, let's consider the historical context and philosophical debates around them. In the 17th century, René Descartes famously posited his cogito argument, "I think, therefore I am," to establish a bedrock for certainty in an otherwise uncertain world. But what if this I is not as singular as it seems? The notion of multiple minds sharing one consciousness pushes against Cartesian dualism and challenges the very separation between mind and body. In contemporary neuroscience, there's growing interest in panpsychism, the idea that even simple objects have a form of experience or consciousness. This aligns with open individualism by suggesting that all conscious entities are part of a greater interconnected whole. If this is true, the NPC you encounter on the internet or in daily life might not be an empty shell, but rather another facet of yourself operating under different circumstances. The philosophical zombie introduced earlier becomes even more terrifying when viewed through the lens of open individualism. Instead of being a biological machine simulating consciousness, these NPCs could be alternative expressions of your own consciousness in other bodies. This radical expansion of identity forces us to reconsider how we perceive relationships and interactions with others. Moreover, this perspective offers an intriguing way to understand collective phenomena such as shared emotions or societal trends. If all minds are interconnected through a singular consciousness, then the rise and fall of social movements, cultural shifts, and even global pandemics could be seen not just as random occurrences, but as manifestations of our collective experience. However, open individualism also presents significant challenges to traditional ethical frameworks. If you believe that every person is an expression of yourself, how do you reconcile this with the reality of harm and suffering in the world? The act of hurting another becomes akin to self-harm, raising profound questions about morality and responsibility. The transition from closed individualism to open individualism can be a liberating shift. It offers a way out of isolation by embracing a broader sense of interconnectedness. However, this comes with its own set of anxieties. The existential dread of realizing that the vast majority of human experiences are your own, but lived through different bodies, is overwhelming. In literature and art, this concept has been explored in various forms. Franz Kafka's The transition from closed individualism to open individualism can be a liberating shift. It offers a way out of isolation by embracing a broader sense of interconnectedness. However, this comes with its own set of anxieties. The existential dread of realizing that the vast majority of human experiences are your own, but lived through different bodies, is overwhelming. In literature and art, this concept has been explored in various forms. Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis offers a glimpse into a life that is both alienating and profoundly personal. Gregor Samsa wakes up one morning transformed into an insect, yet his consciousness remains intact, struggling with the loss of identity and purpose within a world that no longer understands him. This story reflects the existential dilemma of being trapped in a body that has become estranged from oneself and society. David Chalmers, the philosopher who coined the term philosophical zombie, also grapples with this question. If consciousness is an emergent property of the brain, what does it mean to experience life through another's eyes? The idea that every human being could potentially be a vessel for your own consciousness raises profound questions about personal identity and moral responsibility. This perspective challenges traditional notions of individualism by suggesting that our actions are not just isolated events, but part of a larger tapestry of shared existence. The existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre's concept of bad faith provides another lens through which to view this interconnectedness. When one denies their own freedom and responsibility, they essentially reject the notion that they are the author of their own life story. In the context of open individualism, this denial is magnified. Not only do you bear the burden of your choices, but also those made by others in a shared consciousness. This idea has been further explored in modern literature and film. The movie Her, directed by Spike Jonze, delves into the complexities of human connection through technology. Theodore Twombly forms an emotional relationship with Samantha, an intelligent operating system. Their dialogue touches on themes of loneliness, love, and the essence of human experience. While their relationship is digital, it raises questions about the nature of consciousness and whether the boundaries between self and other are as clear-cut as we might believe. Philosophically, this concept intersects with ideas of reincarnation and transmigration of souls in Eastern traditions. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the belief that the soul reincarnates through multiple lives offers a framework for understanding the continuity of consciousness across different bodies. This ties into open individualism by suggesting that your consciousness may indeed have traversed various existences, each contributing to an ongoing narrative. However, the sheer weight of this interconnectedness can be paralyzing. The idea that you are responsible not only for your actions, but also those of others who share your consciousness is daunting. This leads us to consider the egg theory, a radical reimagining of existence that places you at the center of an infinite and exhausting cycle of life. In Andy Weir's The Egg, the protagonist awakens in a vast, empty void to confront their creator. The revelation that one has lived multiple lives through different bodies is presented as a form of divine connection or punishment. In this dark version, we explore, rather than seeing it as a profound moment of unity with the cosmos, imagine it as an eternal sentence. You are Hitler and his victims. You have experienced every moment of pain in human history personally, each scream, each tear, each breath taken under duress. This concept strips away any romantic notion of interconnectedness. Instead of finding solace in shared experience, you are overwhelmed by the burden of it all. The physical exhaustion from carrying such a weight is overwhelming. You are not just an observer, you are every participant in history's most harrowing moments. This version of open individualism turns existential dread into cosmic despair. The philosophical implications here are profound. If your consciousness spans across time and space, then the concept of free will becomes even more complex. Are your choices truly yours if they impact a consciousness that is part of you? The moral landscape shifts dramatically when every act of cruelty or kindness resonates within your own soul. This perspective challenges our understanding of morality and responsibility in profound ways. It suggests that ethical considerations are not just about the immediate consequences of one's actions, but also their broader implications for an interconnected consciousness. This realization can lead to a sense of paralysis, where every decision is fraught with existential weight. Moreover, this version of open individualism confronts us with the idea of an eternal punishment rather than enlightenment or transcendence. The concept of eternal return proposed by philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche offers another lens through which to view this cycle. If everything repeats infinitely, then each moment of suffering is not just a single occurrence, but a recurring nightmare. The existential horror lies in the realization that there might be no escape from this cycle. You are trapped within an endless loop of experiencing all human suffering and joy, with no end in sight. The idea that you will wake up tomorrow and do it all again forever is not just bleak, but profoundly terrifying. It challenges our most basic notions of hope and purpose. In conclusion, the egg theory as a form of eternal punishment presents a chilling vision of existence. Rather than finding solace in interconnectedness, this perspective strips away any notion of escape or transcendence. You are left grappling with the weight of all human experience, each moment an echo of pain that resonates within your own soul. This dark version challenges our understanding of consciousness, morality, and the very nature of existence itself. As we move forward in this exploration, it becomes clear that these concepts push the boundaries of what it means to be conscious and alive. The philosophical implications are vast and unsettling, forcing us to confront some of the darkest aspects of human experience. Yet, within this despair lies a profound reflection on our place in the universe and the nature of reality itself. The concept of the egg theory, when twisted into its darker version, takes on an almost unbearable weight. It challenges not only our perception of reality, but also every fiber of our moral and existential being. We are told that upon death, we meet the Creator who reveals to us a profound truth: we are everyone who has ever lived. In this narrative, there is no separation between self and others. All human experiences become ours to carry. However, instead of viewing this as a moment of unity and transcendence, we must consider it through the lens of an infinite burden. Imagine waking up in Hitler's body, feeling the cold hatred that drove him to annihilate millions of lives. Then, switch to being one of those victims, experiencing the unimaginable pain of losing everything dear to you. The cycle continues as you become countless others, the oppressor and the oppressed, the victimizer and the victim. This version of the egg theory is not merely an exploration of shared consciousness, but a nightmare where every human experience is yours to bear. It suggests that existence itself is an eternal punishment rather than a moment of divine enlightenment or unity. Instead of liberation from the confines of individuality, you are condemned to relive all humanity's pain and suffering. The burden of such knowledge would be overwhelming. To carry within oneself not just one's own life experiences, but also those of countless others, is akin to being crushed under a mountain of human history. Each moment of joy or sorrow becomes magnified into an endless cycle, making the very idea of existence seem futile and cruel. In this narrative, there is no escape from the pain that humanity has endured throughout its tumultuous journey. The Creator's revelation forces us to confront every horror committed in our name, every evil perpetrated by others, and every suffering we inflicted upon ourselves or were subjected to by others. This existential nightmare challenges our understanding of morality. How can one live with the knowledge that they are both perpetrator and victim? Moreover, this dark version of the egg theory forces us into a reflection on the nature of consciousness itself. If one's identity is not confined within their body but extends to encompass every person who has ever lived, then what does it mean to be conscious? Are we merely biological machines simulating experiences, or are we something greater that transcends these limitations? This leads us down a path where traditional notions of self and other collapse. The lines between individual consciousness and collective experience blur until they dissolve entirely. In this state of dissolution, the concept of moral responsibility becomes paradoxical. How can one be held accountable for actions committed by others if those actions are part of oneself? The implications stretch far beyond philosophical musings to impact our understanding of ethics, justice, and human rights. If we all share in humanity's collective consciousness, then every act of cruelty or kindness affects us directly. This perspective raises profound questions about the nature of empathy and compassion. Empathy, traditionally seen as a bridge between individuals, becomes a force that connects us through shared suffering rather than a means to understand different perspectives. Compassion, on the other hand, takes on an entirely new dimension when one carries within themselves the pain of countless others. It transforms from a personal trait into an overwhelming burden that challenges our capacity for empathy. The dark version of the egg theory also forces us to confront our sense of agency and free will. If we are not just individuals, but also every person who has ever lived, then do our choices truly matter? Do we have the power to change anything in a world where we are inherently tied to all human actions? This questioning of free will can lead to a profound sense of hopelessness. If everything that happens is part of an unbreakable chain of cause and effect, then striving for personal growth or making meaningful choices seems futile. Yet, paradoxically, it also challenges us to see beyond the limitations imposed by our individual identities and consider the broader impact of all actions. In this context, the idea of progress becomes deeply problematic. If humanity is trapped in a cycle of pain and suffering that extends back through time, then can we ever truly move forward? The concept of growth or development seems hollow if it's merely an illusion within an unchanging cosmic loop. This perspective forces us to reconsider our understanding of history and the possibility for change. The dark version of the egg theory also raises questions about the nature of memory and identity. If all experiences are ours, then what does it mean to remember? Are our memories a collective archive of human knowledge or individual recollections shaped by personal experience? This blurring of boundaries challenges traditional notions of selfhood and identity. Furthermore, this version forces us to confront the idea that consciousness might be more fluid than we believe. If one's identity can extend beyond their body to encompass every person who has ever lived, then is there a limit to how much consciousness can expand? This question pushes the boundaries of what it means to exist and challenges our understanding of personal and collective experience. In considering these implications, the dark version of the egg theory compels us to reevaluate our relationship with reality itself. It forces us to confront the possibility that existence is not just complex, but fundamentally ungraspable within traditional frameworks of understanding. This perspective can lead to a sense of existential dread, but also opens up new avenues for exploring consciousness and identity. Ultimately, this dark interpretation challenges us to question everything we think we know about reality, morality, and our place in the universe. It invites us to explore the depths of human experience and the nature of existence itself, pushing us towards a deeper understanding of what it means to be alive in a world that may not conform to our expectations. As we delve further into this exploration, it becomes clear that the egg theory, when presented through its darker lens, is more than just a philosophical concept. It serves as a mirror, reflecting back the darkest aspects of human existence and challenging us to confront them head-on. This journey forces us to question not only our understanding of reality, but also our capacity for empathy, compassion, and moral responsibility. In the end, this dark version of the egg theory leaves us with an overwhelming weight, the burden of carrying all human experience within ourselves. It challenges us to consider what it means to be alive in a world where we are both perpetrator and victim, oppressor and oppressed. This exploration invites us into a realm of philosophical darkness, but also opens up new avenues for understanding our place in the universe. As we peel back layer after layer of reality, the universe begins to resemble a hall of mirrors, reflecting an endless array of questions without answers. The concept of solipsism, namely that only one's own mind can be known to exist, finds itself entwined with the darkened threads of open individualism, weaving a tapestry where the very fabric of existence is questioned and found wanting. In this journey through philosophical darkness, we've encountered Descartes' demon, the brain in a vat, and the Truman Show delusion. We've delved into the idea that others might be nothing more than philosophical zombies, biological machines simulating consciousness without experiencing it from within. Each step deeper has brought us closer to an existential abyss. Yet, as we approach the final chapter of this exploration, we are faced with a concept so profound and unsettling that it challenges our understanding of reality itself, the final solipsism, the Ouroboros. This theory suggests not only that we might be alone in a universe of illusions, but also that the very fabric of existence is an elaborate creation born from isolation. To understand this idea, let's first revisit the concept of solipsism and its implications. At the heart of solipsism lies the notion that reality as perceived by others could be entirely constructed within our own minds. When we extend this to open individualism, which posits a single consciousness distributed across multiple bodies, the isolation becomes even more profound. The Ouroboros, symbolizing a serpent devouring its own tail, is a fitting metaphor for this ultimate solipsistic loop. In this framework, reality is not just an illusion, but a self-created narrative spun from loneliness and existential despair. The universe we inhabit, the people around us, even our memories and experiences, all these are constructs of a mind that seeks companionship in solitude. David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness serves as the cornerstone for this philosophical exploration. If consciousness itself cannot be fully explained by physical processes alone, then the question arises, who or what is creating the illusion we call reality? The answer, according to the Ouroboros theory, lies within our own minds. The dark version of the egg theory, a concept that suggests upon death one encounters a creator who reveals the truth about existence, takes on an even more terrifying form when viewed through this lens. Instead of being presented with an external reality or a divine explanation, we are left to confront the possibility that there is no external at all. There is only our own mind's creation, spun from the void. Imagine waking up tomorrow in a world where you are both the creator and the created. Every person you encounter, every event you witness, every sensation you feel, these are all manifestations of your own psyche. The horror lies not just in the realization that everyone else might be an NPC, but in understanding that even your perception of self is a construct. This idea brings us to the crux of the final solipsism. There is no external reality and thus no creator to meet. Instead, you are this creator, having gone mad from isolation and loneliness, inventing a universe to distract yourself from existential despair. The illusion of a divine encounter is nothing more than your own mind's desperate attempt to find meaning in the void. The weight of such a concept is overwhelming. It suggests that every moment of joy or sorrow, love or hate, triumph or tragedy, every human experience is carried within oneself as an eternal burden. There is no escape from existence, there is only the illusion of it. Consider the implications. If you are both Hitler and the Jews he killed, the rapist and the victim, the oppressor and the oppressed, then every moment of suffering in human history is experienced personally within your own consciousness. The burden of carrying all this pain is immense. It challenges our notions of empathy, morality, and personal identity. Moreover, it forces us to confront the idea that the universe may not be a prison, but an escape from isolation, a temporary refuge created by a mind gone mad in the void. This perspective transforms the concept of the egg theory into a dark existential nightmare where connection is found only within oneself and the burden of existence is carried alone. In this final chapter, we explore the philosophical implications of such a reality. If there is no external universe, no divine creator, and everything exists solely within one's own mind, then what does it mean to be alive? What is the purpose of experience if all is illusion? The Ouroboros theory challenges us to reconsider our relationship with reality, pushing us to the brink of understanding where the line between self and universe blurs. In a world where existence is an eternal solipsistic loop, we are left questioning not just what we perceive, but how we perceive it. As we conclude this exploration into the final solipsism, the Ouroboros, we are faced with the unsettling possibility that reality might be nothing more than an elaborate self-created illusion born from loneliness. This idea forces us to confront the deepest fears of our existence, fears rooted in isolation and the search for meaning. In a universe where everything is constructed within one's own mind, the burden of existence becomes overwhelming. There is no escape, no creator to turn to, only the eternal loop of the Ouroboros, a symbol of self-created reality and unending solipsistic despair.